Aloha, everybody. Welcome to Tiki Tuesday Talks. We're back at it again. With as we're getting into fall here, we're going to keep the tiki flowing. Excited to be with you guys. Here's the crew. Hi, everybody. Hi, Josh. Looking good. We'll skip you for the moment. Kelsey, where are you calling in from?
Hey, y'all. I'm calling in from up here in Toronto, Canada.
Awesome. How's it up there? Is it winter yet?
It's not winter, thank
okay.
Thank God. We're sunny, and we're supposed to be having this long like summer straight into November. So I'm fingers crossed, because this winter is meant to be like awful. So yeah, it's real nice here.
Josh, where are you at? Looking good over there.
Calling in from Otter Tail up near Fargo.
Wait, Otter Tail where?
Otter Tail Lake. It's in Minnesota.
Can you give us can you pan it out, or we need to see the lake?
This is Otter.
Wow.
Very calm today.
You're looking good. You're looking good.
It's not a C, but
it's not a C. No. Tiki by the lake, Tiki by the bay. We've had it all.
Yeah.
Steva, talk to me. What's happening over there?
Oh, I'm in Birmingham with my plant, George. And I wish that I was in Toronto with Kelsey. One, to just hug you in person, and two, to wish Jess Smith a happy birthday, because it was her birthday this weekend. So if you know a Jess Smith that lives in Toronto, please wish her a happy birthday. She's great. Super excited about this class today.
Indeed, going to be a good one. We're having two weeks of tiki sustainability discussions.
Yeah,
so it's going to be really exciting. This is part one.
Hell yeah.
Aaron, what's going on? Talk to us about your plant there.
This is. I don't know what her name is yet, but she's large. She's large, and just take it. I'm in my tropical oasis, aka my apartment in Baltimore, Maryland.
There you go.
And enjoying this lovely fall weather, and excited to hear this talk today.
Excellent. Is there anything more tropical than Baltimore?
Minnesota.
Fair. All right. Let's get to it. A couple of details for you guys. So Kelsey is a co-founder of the Trash Collective. We'll get into the fine and points and details of the bio in a moment. We're going to talk about trash tiki and fermentation with a real application at home component to it as well, which we're excited about. So as usual, chat box and questions. If you guys are on Crowdcast or if you're on Facebook Live, feel free to send questions our way. We appreciate you sharing the event, starting a watch party, etc. PayPal is Kelsey at the Trash Collective. She's going to talk about where that's going to get donated to. We'll do our presentation for 30 to 40, cocktail session for 10, and then 5 questions with Josh at the lake. So, Kelsey, I cut down her bio. It was probably 8 pages, I think. Very, very impressive. She's bringing years of experience to the hospitality industry, working at bars and restaurants in Canada, including 3 years as a GM and when she moved to London to become a bartender at Dandelion, internationally renowned bar with an amazing program. While she was there, she thought of adding even more to her plate. In October 16, she and partner Ian Griffiths launched Trash Tiki, which I'm sure you guys have heard of, an online sustainable focused platform and touring pop-up bar that really is focused on using byproducts and food waste that bars normally discard. This became a platform for the craft cocktail industry on would-be waste ingredients, mostly ditched, and then could still offer up flavors and other uses. After a ton of travel, and I'm kind of cutting this short, she decided to move back to Canada. She's in Toronto, and she opened up her own spot called Supernova. So we'll kick it over. How's it going?
Hey guys. Thanks for having me so much. I'm really excited to be here and kind of talk through some of this stuff. Do we go to the slideshow now, or should I?
We'll do it. Let's make it happen.
Awesome. Did I? Yeah. Okay.
Nope, that's actually mine.
Okay.
So you get yours back.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk through fermentation and flavor stability. A little bit of an update, I guess, since I wrote that bio, should probably update that a little bit. Supernova has unfortunately closed. So I want to commiserate and also send my condolences to anyone who has had any struggles over these last, 6 months. I am here for you. I feel you. It was very, very difficult making that decision. But it was unquestionably the right decision. I feel really good having done it. So I'm going to talk about fermentation and flavor stability for the reason that we have all had to scale back our prep. And we're making, at least for myself, definitely, and I know that other bars in Toronto have really had to scale back because we just don't have the capacities. We're not as busy. The to-go drinks definitely are not. I'm going to share the presentation so you guys can see it. It was just the title slide I was talking through anyway. There we go. Sorry, guys. 1 second while I figure this out. Not the most tech savvy person in the world, so there we go.
Here, we're
All right, there we go, and we're back in business. So we've all had to scale back our prep. I know that I now have a to-go drinks business called Dolly Trolley Drinks. So they're like little cute mason jars. I was talking through anyway. There we go. I think there's a little bit of a lag with the sound there. Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Sorry.
I think we're good now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to give you guys some tips, some recipes, and some stuff that you can do that essentially, instead of creating a 1 liter syrup that may or may not get used in the 3 to 5 days that it's shelf stable, is to give you some recipes that can be used in the same way. But instead of having 3 to 5 days of stability, you're going to have 3 to 6 months. Which is so valuable, not only from a saving your kind of prep ingredients side, but being able to also use seasonal ingredients, and then also cut down a little bit on prep time. So you yourself and your staff can really, make the most out of the face-to-face time with guests instead of being in the kitchen. So that being said, we're just going to launch straight into it. And then do I flip the slideshow, or do you do that?
You do it.
Okay, cool. Right. So we're going to skip. This is kind of what we're just going to go through today. I'm going to skip over the about me because we went through that. But we're really going to start understanding, before we get into the recipes, which sort of comes at the end, we're going to understand what the different types of fermentations are and what the major components of them are, sort of to create. So what you kind of want to do with any type of fermentation is create the best possible scenario for the type of thing that you want to grow, and then minimize sort of the danger aspects. So we're really going to get into what the different types are. So wild versus controlled, some things that you can do not to kill anyone. We're going to get into some typical safety procedures, some mistakes that honestly that I have made, and some things that I've seen where, in cocktail competitions or different things while I've been traveling, where I was like, oh, that's not quite how you're not meant to do that. And then we'll break it down into 3 major ferments. So these 3 we're going to get into a wine, beer sort of situation, a lacto fermentation, and a kombucha. And I think that these 3 really encompass The major types that I think that are used most in bars, but not only at it, are that kind of encompass both wild and controlled, and then 3 different styles, I guess, of fermentation. We're going to finish on I'm going to pepper some resources in through this, but there's some really good books. I'm sure most of you, if you're interested in this, have the NOMA book already, but there's some other stuff and some reference guides and some really cool people that you can follow that have helped build the NOMA book, in addition to some other people. So I'm going to give you guys that and some people I follow personally. And then we're going to finish on a really delicious drink. So if you have had access to any of the recipes so far, the little peach fermentation, so we're gonna go through that, and we're gonna make a little cocktail on this delicious rum right here. We can skip this.
I mean, I obviously didn't do the best job. Feel free to go.
No, you did a great job. I'll just skip through really quickly. I am originally from BC. I kind of got my start in the cocktail industry actually in Toronto. So I was a club bartender. I feel like everyone needs to cut their teeth and get quick in a way like I did. I know that a lot of people are lucky enough to just start cocktail bartending right away, and that's amazing and good for you. But I think when I was coming up, people weren't so keen to put females behind the bar, so there was a little bit of working as a hostess and doing and working my time through. So that's kind of where I came from, and then I moved back to BC. I started managing a bar called the Oakwood. I eventually became GM, and I started getting really into wine. And I kind of reached a peak in my career where I felt like I couldn't learn any more from the position that I was in. So that's when I sort of made the decision to move to London and find mentorship, which I think is really, really important in this industry. If you guys have ever had the opportunity, or even if you don't, that's kind of where I had to stop and turn around and say, okay, I need to really find people who can teach me more about stuff that I can learn online or on the internet. And I think that our industry has really grown in that way. There is so much more information available now, and things like this that are available for free. So there's one good thing that's come out of COVID. It is that all of these things are now online and completely free, which is a really, really big positive.
What years were we talking about? So what years were you in the club game? And then when did you move over to Oakwood?
I started, I think I started bartending. This is really funny. I started bartending when I was 20 years old. So that would have been in 2000 and math.
Right. Okay, cool. Got it.
So yeah, I lived in Toronto from 2006 to about 2008, and then moved back to, I moved to Ireland in there, and then moved back to BC. And then I think in 2014, I moved to London. So.
So I still, as we talked about a pre-show, I still haven't really learned how to make a proper cocktail. Do you recommend I get into the club bartending scene to start?
I mean, right now, probably not. And I definitely had to, I did my time, and I had to take a step back. And I think that there's definitely more opportunities now for young bartenders to not have to do that.
Right.
But at that time, it was definitely you had to work in a pub or like somewhere high volume before you'd even get looked at for like a cocktail bar, especially as a woman. So yeah, that was definitely part of it.
And then what about the gig in the UK, or the city, or the bar itself brought you over there?
It was a choice. It was either between London or New York, or I think there was one other one, maybe Sydney or Melbourne, Australia. But I really just wanted to get out of Canada and kind of make a name for myself and then come back, which I think I did.
Yep, you did.
And I looked at New York, and I sort of saw the direction that it was going. And I think this was like 2013, 2014, when, places like, Nightjar and like really visual cocktails were started coming out, and molecular stuff was starting to be a thing, and well, actually kind of reaching its peak. And London seemed to be like winning all the awards. And that's when, so I moved, I staged pretty much everywhere. And then that's how I landed on Dandelion. A whole bunch of friends were like, no, you should go work there. And it was obviously before it was I think they were like 6 or 8 months into post opening, and kind of had that thing that happens with every venue when, you know, the opening crew, some of them sort of start leaving. So there was an opportunity for me to get my foot in the door. And, you know, I met some of the best friends and mentors that I've ever had in my entire career, could have hoped for. So it was a really like incredible experience. And, you know, if people have the opportunity to go and travel and do that, I was really fortunate to be able to, like, you know, pick up and leave.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's too bad you didn't come in New York, because then we could have hung out. But here we are, meeting on a live stream. You know, it's great.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go on to the next slide. So this slide is super important, and I really want you guys to sort of understand the difference between these two types of fermentations. So we're going to go over, for the most part, mostly for safety reasons, but also because there's a number of different variables with wild fermentation. If you're just starting into fermentation, you're kind of doing one or two things. We're really going to go into control. So this is what I mean by controlled, is like an induced fermentation. So you're starting from, you know, either a yeast or a SCOBY or something that that is cultivated, that you've purchased or borrowed, or, you know, got from somebody else, that you're putting into a liquid that will start your fermentation. And what this does is allows that microorganism to get a little bit of a head start over any other possible contaminants. We're going to go over contaminants and the nightmare that they can be a little bit later. So that is what I mean by controlled fermentation, whereas wild fermentation is kind of, you're creating a situation, I guess, for lack of a better term, or like a little home for microorganisms that you want in there. So this could be whether, like, for example, tapache. In a traditional tapache, not the one on the Trash Tiki website, while it is a great recipe and it is very safe, it is not a traditional tapache. So if you go to Mexico and you see tapache on the menu, that is a wild fermentation, because there is yeast that actually occurs naturally on organic pineapples. That's before they've come to North America and gotten waxed and had all these contacts with external possible contaminants. This is like naturally grown beautiful pineapples. That's why also they taste so much better in Mexico than here.
It's amazing. Yeah, and Brazil.
Yeah. So exactly.
It's like a different fruit.
For sure. So there's like, and they're so much sweeter. They're so much better.
Yeah.
So there's a naturally occurring yeast on the outside. So traditional fermentation is started from that yeast. So you can just kind of put sugar and water and spices on the outside of pineapple and you'll have a wild fermentation. Whereas here in North America or kind of anywhere else in the world, what I'd recommend doing is adding a yeast like you would do to a beer or wine, so that you have a controlled fermentation. So it's a little bit safer. So that's kind of the differentiation. Some other examples would be lacto fermentation, where you're actually killing the other stuff, the sort of bad stuff with salt. But you are allowing a wild fermentation to occur. So both of them are good, but for all kind of, we are going to go a little bit into lacto fermentation. For the intensive purposes, we're going to just understand what the differences are, but we're going to focus on more of control for this.